This is a new task force where we utilize the crash where individuals lose their lives as ground zero. We work in conjunction with our law enforcement partners where they go forward investigating the crash. We go backwards. We find the people who supply the alcohol to these individuals that then get behind the wheel and take lives. We find the people who are at least somewhat criminally responsible for this death. Today we're announcing the charges of 3 individuals in the indictment of Veronica Rivas, a 20-year-old who almost a month ago took the lives of Shayla Joseph and her 3-month-old son Braylon Joseph at 3:50 in the morning on Interstate 45 Feeder Road in El Dorado. We are arresting, or we have charged, Devin Jackson, 24, with furnishing alcohol to a minor. We have charged John Medina, 23, with furnishing alcohol to a minor. And we have charged Amy Allen, 40 years old, with providing or being criminally negligent in allowing a minor to consume alcohol on a licensed premises. She is a bartender. She works at an establishment that provided these young ladies with alcohol. 2, 20-year-old and a 17-year-old who consumed numerous drinks at this establishment, the Crescent City Connection Bar and Grill. We are also charging John Medina with aggravated perjury, meaning that he lied, he made a material false statement in the grand jury. That is part of the investigative tools that we have used in this case and will begin to use in all of these cases going forward to identify people who supply the alcohol to individuals who then take lives. And with that, I'm going to hand it to Kim and let her say a few words.
Hi, members of the media. Thank you so much. I'm really here to congratulate the members of the Harris County District Attorney's Vehicular Crime Division, led by Sean Tier, who just spoke, and to thank HPD and their Vehicular Crimes Division for an investigation that I think is unique in terms of past approaches to reducing DWI-related deaths and our future approach to DWI-related deaths. We are ground zero for alcohol-related car crashes and deaths in the United States. We really couldn't do worse than our current record. And so when we looked at those stats, I talked to Mr. Tier, we worked with HPD, and we talked about how to get to the source of the problems. We think that when people in our community die as crime victims sitting in their car at a stoplight and are struck by somebody so drunk that they kill them, 90 miles an hour, killed a woman and her infant child, that the public expects everyone who caused the crime to be held accountable. But as a former line prosecutor, I can tell you that's not been the practice of most prosecutors in Harris County, or for that matter, much of the United States. We've always gone after the driver. And juries have sort of satisfied themselves with holding the driver accountable, but we think communities want more. And so yesterday you saw us bring a diversion program for low-level offenders. Well, this is not a low-level offense. This is exactly the kind of quality investigation and prosecution in conjunction with Texas Alcohol and Beverage Commission, who can bring administrative relief if the evidence supports it. In such cases where there's carnage on the highway, we track the source of the alcohol to a specific person and place, and that's what this investigation represents. That's exactly what they've done. So the bartender, the young man who furnished the alcohol to the 2 minors, this is extraordinary, and they are going to face serious criminal penalty. So it's the first of a new approach that Mr. Tier and HPD have been working on for some months now. It won't be the last. And this, I think, should serve as a warning to the public, to those who own liquor licensed establishments. There's easy ways to run your establishment legally. Having training in place for employees, having procedures that prevent somebody from providing alcohol to a minor. In this case, all the individuals were sitting right at the bar in front of the bartender. And so with that kind of evidence, it's clear that but for the actions of providing the liquor to the adults who then provided it right in their presence to the minors, this crash and the death of the 2 victims need not have occurred. So we're going to take the most serious approach we can to alcohol-related deaths. This is the beginning of HPD and law enforcement and our effort at the District Attorney's Office to, in seeking real justice for victims of DWI carnage. This is the first of the cases where you're going to see everybody held accountable that's been identified as causal to the death. Chief, I'd like to invite Chief James Jones from HPD up to talk about their role. And just a personal note of thanks. Chief Jones is involved in his cases. He's involved with all the units that he supervises. And I just appreciate the quality and the skill level of the officers involved in this case and in all of our vehicular crashes. We've got the talent it takes to reduce the deaths related to alcohol-related crimes. And we think this is a warning to the public and to those who lawfully provide alcohol to take the appropriate measures they need to help us reduce highway deaths caused by alcohol. Chief? Thank you.
Hi, my name is James Jones. I'm Assistant Chief with the Houston Police Department. First, I want to thank the DA's office for their partnership. They're at the scenes when we make some of these just horrific accidents like the one in question today, where a 36-year-old woman and her infant were taken from their family way too early in a needless criminal act. And we are going to go after those responsible, and they should realize that bar owners, bartenders, they have a responsibility. Harris County, unfortunately, leads the nation in DWI fatalities across the country. We are number one. That's something we're not proud of, and we're working to fix it. We have to. And we're going to hold those that are criminally responsible, we're going to hold them responsible. We're going after the bars if we can prove negligence, criminal negligence. This is a tragedy that doesn't have to happen. I'll say we are changing the way we do things. We have no refusal in Harris County all the time. Our no refusal means you will, if you are stopped and we believe you're intoxicated and you don't provide a breath specimen, we're going to get a blood draw. So we are getting tough. We just think it has to stop. We can't accept that we have 245 deaths or more each year on our roadways. 30% at least are those caused by intoxicated drivers. So with our partnership, the VCD, I do want to give credit. They go out there every day and they have to look at this carnage on the road. It's just awful, and we need it to stop. We shouldn't accept this as a society, and I hope we get tough on it. I hope the juries understand why this problem has to be addressed. So thank you very much, and I cannot say enough about the DA's office and the way they've been a partner. Sean Tier with the DA's office, he's at many of these scenes with our officers, so they understand all the facts that lead to this case, and they are going after those that are responsible for serving these intoxicated drivers. Thank you very much.
I just want to echo one other thing. The charges today, I hope that they instill fear in every single person's heart that serves alcohol. I hope that this causes people to be more responsible. Because if you're not, we will hold you responsible. The citizens of Harris County are tired of this. I am tired of this, standing over babies and dead people on the roads. So I hope that every single person that legally or illegally provides alcohol to other people gets the message.
Can you state your name and your title?
It's Sean Tier, T-E-A-R-E. I'm the Division Chief of the Vehicular Crimes Division in the Harris County DA's office.
Kim, how's this working with TABC? Are you guys in contact with them as far as some consequences, as far as maybe closing the bar down, that kind of thing?
Yes, and we're not making any blanket statements about this bar today, but Mr. Tier HPD work hand in hand with TABC and with the county attorney's office to take civil measures necessary at times, which will result in bar closures. The task force was started with the idea that after-hours bars are the source of many intoxicated drivers who kill people. And in this case, it wasn't after-hour service. It was right during the bar's lawfully operating hours. So they just went above and beyond. I think when we talk about data-driven prosecution and policies, it was shocking and nauseating to me to learn after I was elected that we were the #1 really ground zero for alcohol-related deaths in the country. I knew it was bad, but I didn't know it was that bad. And so we started working on it right away. We reached out to TABC. These task forces don't come together on their own. They are relationships that have to be initiated, cultivated, and then utilized, everybody to their higher purpose. So Chuck Cornelius, for example, with our office is somebody that I worked with from TABC years ago when I was a line prosecutor and also at Crime Stoppers here. And so through our investigators, we often are able to reach out and really handpick the agencies and the people that we're involved with. And you get quality prosecution when you do that. And we think it's going to offer the community the opportunity to set the price on what that behavior is. Again, everybody operating lawfully has nothing to worry about. It's when you absolutely know or should have known that minors were being served. And when they're sitting at the bar, there's just no excuse for not knowing. And that's why the intent in these alcohol-related deaths is different, really, than in certain other crimes. Criminal negligence is an option. And criminal negligence means that those servers should have known that they could cause serious bodily injury or death through their actions by serving individuals who are serving minors.
What charges are the bartenders facing?
The bartender is charging what's called a hybrid misdemeanor. It is up to a year in the county jail or a $1,000 fine or both. And it is technically a liquor violation. We're alleging she was criminally negligent in allowing minors to consume alcohol on a licensed premises.
Can you explain a little bit of that? Did she just flat not check their ID? Was she only serving this guy and the guy was giving her the drinks? Can you tell us?
That's exactly right. And
can you explain
we've done this. We've done this a number of ways. We've had grand jury testimony in this case, and we've identified receipts from the bar where an adult actually did purchase the alcohol from the bartender. However, we have testimony that shows that all four of them, the two adults that we have charged and the two underage girls, were sitting at the bar in this establishment, which if you go look at it is a very small establishment. And the bar is not someplace that you couldn't see that when you're buying 4 margaritas at a time, there are 4 people drinking. And 2 of them were underage.
So the adults are buying 4 margaritas at a time.
That's right. That's what the receipts and the testimony has said, shows that they were buying them at 4 at a time. We also have information that one of the charged adults, Devin Jackson, his father or stepfather is the owner of Crescent City Bar and Grill. And we believe that both of those adults, Devin Jackson and John Medina, previously worked as a bartender at this location.
Going forward in the future, though, let's say a couple of weeks from now, God forbid, we're at a scene where somebody is drunk and they're of age and it's tracked back to a legitimate bar. In that sort of case, the bartender there, the expectation is, I guess, the legal responsibility of the bartender is to monitor that they're not too drunk to drive. In those cases, would you be charging a bartender with overpouring or over-serving or this kind of thing.
Obviously.
What kind of charges or problems could they face in the future?
Obviously, it's a case-by-case question. There are charges available. The way that you would go about proving them is a case-by-case issue, but there are potential charges for a server who overserves someone and then that person then goes and commits an intoxication manslaughter. Yes, there are potential charges for that.
But in the past, we just haven't really been tracking those back to is that?
In the past, we haven't. We have, as Kim said, we've been, I guess, happy enough to just hold the person driving responsible. And one thing, this is not in any way minimizing the culpability of Veronica Rivas. She is completely responsible for taking these 2 lives. But what we are doing in this task force is we are also holding other people that in a way put bullets into the gun that she fired. We are going to hold every single person we can responsible, but I don't want it to sound like we are in any way minimizing the culpability of Veronica Rivas.
Is there another type of prosecution, another city or a state that does this in the country, or is this the only one?
I'm not aware of one. This is really kind of the first blush for something that I'm aware of. There are other counties in Texas that have vehicular crime sections and things of that nature. Our division is the largest, but I believe this is the first one to do this type of investigation.
Was it because of the victims in this case, a young mother and her infant son? Did that spark sort of a fire? Was this already under works before this happened?
This was already in the works. As Kim said, this is not something that came about, in a quick fashion. We've spent months. I requested Chuck Cornelius, who I worked with years ago as well, to come be my investigator for this task force because of his prior background with TABC and his source investigation skills. Kim allowed him to come full-time over here. We now have another prosecutor who's dedicated to this. This has been in the works for a long time. And this is not the only investigation we have in the pipeline this way, but this is the first that we can announce charges on.
So just to be clear, all 3 knew that Rivas and her friend were 17. They knew they were underage?
The 2 adults that are charged, Jackson and Medina, did know. And that is an element of the charge that they had to know that they were under 21. We've alleged that they both knew. In the case of Amy Allen, it's not a requirement that she know. It is a requirement that she was criminally negligent in not identifying whether or not they were adults.
How did Rivas know Jackson and Medina? Were they all just hanging out in this bar?
Well, our understanding is that they have all known each other for a number of months, at least, if not years prior to this. The 17-year-old in question apparently is the one who has known everyone the longest. We have evidence from her cell phone, the 17-year-old, which is one of the pieces of evidence that led to the aggravated perjury charge for Mr. Medina.
Did this happen in the past as well, or you guys got any information about that?
This case is not closed. There might be other charges that are possible. There might be administrative charges via TABC, ourselves, and the county attorney's office. We're not closing the book on this case. We're not closing the book on any of our cases that are pending right now. So, yes, there might still be other people that we can hold culpable.
And to be clear, again, this bar could be closed.
That's an administrative issue that the county attorney's office is probably better suited to speak to, but it's something that we are going to be in communication with them and TABC for administrative issues.
Are you guys looking at other cases, previous cases?
As in from this bar?
No, just other drunken driving crashes.
Absolutely. We are looking into every case that we have pending in the Vehicular Crimes Division. We handle every intoxication manslaughter, every felony murder. If you die on the roadways and someone's held held at fault, it's going to come to my division. So we're looking at all of them, yes.
I wonder if you have an idea, and I don't know if you can share with us the particulars of this particular crime, but I recall hearing that maybe this driver was twice the legal limit, and you're talking 4 margaritas at a time. Do you know how many alcoholic drinks this driver and the 17-year-old may have consumed over the course of the evening, and how long were they there?
So we don't have a definitive time frame that they were there at Crescent City. It is the one that we can identify that they actually consumed alcohol at. We know of 2 other locations that I can't, at this time, hold anyone responsible for serving them alcohol at that place. But her toxicology came back for one of her blood draws last week. And this is a blood draw that's 2.5 hours after the crash, and her blood alcohol content at that point was a 0.16, 2 times the legal limit.
You don't mind if we do Spanish media next, just so they can get their piece?
0.16, 2.5 hours after.
That same day, they were at 2 other locations, and
That's
then
our
went to this
understanding.
bar. And this bar was the last one before she got on the road?
No, there is an intervening bar that we have evidence that they attended, but we don't have any conclusive proof that they consumed alcohol there.
Businesses,
Businesses,
bars.
bars.
Okay.
Buenos días, me llamo Robert Pérez, soy el fiscal del Special Crimes Bureau, trabajo con Kim Ogg, que es la fiscal de Harris County. Le quiero dar gracias a todo el público por estar aquí, por estar escuchando el mensaje que queremos dar hoy. Le quiero dar las gracias al departamento de Houston Police Department por el apoyo que nos han dado en esta investigación. También le quiero dar gracias a Chantier, que es el líder de la división división que maneja y investiga los casos de intoxicación, de que salen las muertes en las calles del condado de Harris. Esta mañana, la fiscal Kim Ogg quiere anunciar que tenemos 4 que le hemos ponido cargos por los robos de una muchacha que era menor, mató a una mamá y mató a su hijo que era un bebé. La mujer tenía 20 años. Otro también le pusimos cargos porque echó mentiras antes del gran jurado. Y como le digo, queremos dar gracias a todos los que están en este caso y que investigaron este caso, y queramos un mensaje que si andan manejando intoxicado y matan a alguien, les vamos a poner cargos y vamos a mandar con todo el poder que tenemos para mandarlos a la penitencia. También les queremos dar un mensaje a los dueños de barras aquí en Harris County, que si venden alcohol a gente que son menores o gentes que se miran que están intoxicados y siguen vendiéndole alcohol, y esas personas matan a alguien, vamos a ponerle cargos, no nomás al chofer, pero también a los dueños de las barras que dan alcohol a los menores o la gente que anda intoxicada y matan a alguien. Con eso quiero concluir. Nomás, como les digo, le quería dar el mensaje ese y queríamos dar gracias de parte de Kim Ogg y la policía, departamento de Houston, y también al CABC. Gracias.